could not move forward in comedy until I figured out my DNA situation.
Where's your last name from?
It's Italian, right?
It's
And I
Italian.
look, it's very Italian, and it'd be like Lauren LoGiudice, and then I come up and I'd be like gesturing Italian, and people were like, "Why is this Connecticut wasp like talking about being from Queens?"
So we just have to explain, since we're on
Yes,
radio, what you look
right.
like.
I'm very tall. I'm 5'11". I got crazy hair. I had this like long limb, lanky thing going on. I'm a skinny bitch. I'm sorry. It's just a
And
thing.
you're white. I mean, you're pretty lily white too.
I'm very white. I look like I could be an equestrian. Like, let's go, let's go out to play tennis. I don't dress like it. I mean, cleaned up. My dad said the good dad raised me. He's like, oh, no one ever, trust me, you look homeless. So I'm not too worried about looking muffy duffy. But if I cleaned up, I could pass, as they say.
High tea.
Hi T. Well, you know what? I did an on the street video recently, and I did it in Palm Beach, and I dressed up like them so that they'll talk to me, and it worked. People are dumb. I couldn't have progressed in comedy because there was a fundamental dissonance, which is great when you figure it out, but not until you do. Like a friend of mine, I came off the stage, and he's like, "You're talking about like I don't get it. You're talking about like downhill stuff, but you're like this." So if I didn't know that, because I didn't even know what I looked like because of genealogical bewilderment.
So what does Lauren, inner child Lauren, what is Lauren when you're little, when you're young, you're looking around your family? What are you thinking?
I'm thinking, what happened? Like what? Well, they came up with solutions because it was a common question. As in, like every day, I came up with a very like in a very Italian American household and in an Italian American community. So I was just like the always the one who looked different. Like all I wanted to be was short with brown hair. I wanted little limbs. That's all I wanted, just to be like everyone else, all the popular girls. Because all the popular girls like had mobsters as dads, and they learned to be tough. So they were real
Did you
tough.
have siblings growing up?
I did. And the thing is, like after me, my dad's balls started to work, and so they had kids naturally. They had like three little, soprano-esque kids. And then there was me trotting around with them.
For me, they said, oh, well, because you're the product of slavery, you take after your great great grandfather who's white. And that's why you're so white. So that explains why you're here and you don't look like the rest of us.
They did actually do that. They pulled out a photo, and they were like, "Oh, it's just your great 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 grandmother." And
Yeah.
I'm like, I have more of a chance of being mistaken for Simone Biles. Like, she not me. And they're like, "Oh, your profile's just like her." I'm like, "Oh, suspicious. There's no profile pictures around." And also, I look my bio dad. I have his profile, so I know that was total bullshit. And then my grandfather also, it's weird Italian. Like I walk around my Italian dad. I look like evidence of cuckolding. So it was an embarrassment. So like, yeah, my grandfather's all worried, and he
Lauren,
goes,
cuckold's a big word. What does that mean?
"Okay, cuckold means that your woman sleeping out on you,
Ah, stepping out.
stepping out." So
Okay.
that's like
Just
really embarrassing because people would literally be like, "Hey, it looks like the mailman came to visit." Like that kind of shit. That's so rude.
okay. So you had some great great grandmother. What else? What was the other reason
Oh,
behind
they told me that the Vikings invaded Sicily.
what?
And yes, they did. And I would tell people like, "Oh, I'm a Viking." And I like went to Bergen, and I was all like, now I went to Bergen because I had a home exchange there, like so it was like a free place to stay, and I went just like by a random chance. But I did accept it because I was like, "Oh, this is so cool. I can go visit the land of my ancestors." It's like maybe there I'll be connected to where like this mythical place where I'll be connected to something.
So did you look like the people there?
I mean, enough,
Mhm.
enough. It was confusing because even in Sicily, the Vikings did invade Sicily. And yes, there are tall Sicilians. I like when I was there, like a few people were like, "I'm really tall," and then like I looked around, I'm like, "Oh, there are tall Sicilians, and there are Italians from the north who look like me." But it's one of those things where people try to like exaggerate similarities so that
Mhm.
cognitive dissonance doesn't screw with them so
Mm.
much.
So you thought you were a Viking. I can see it,
Yes.
Lauren the Viking.
Yes, I mean, I was like, yeah, I'm a Viking. This is it. I'm a Viking, and I was just like that for forever. So I would have never. I just was always a question, and then DNA testing came out. But like, it's so hard to explain to people not in the community that like, yes, I got the test done, and yes, I got the results that were weird, but no, did I look into it? Because you can't. Your brain. You've been like having this story for so long, and even though I was like saying I wanted the answers, it's hard to get around to facing the facts.
So you spat in a tube. Why'd you get your test?
Well, because I wanted to know. So like a friend was like, "Hey, we there's this test I saw like what percent I was," and I was like, "Oh, this is a way for me to find out." And then it showed that like I was from England and in northern Italy, and my brother I was raised with, he is my half brother. I mean, full social brother. I don't know what this category. We were raised together. He's my brother, and I compared to his, and his was from Sicily and Greece.
So you
And it's
should have been
like,
having high tea all this time.
right, I should have been, when I found out the real truth, I went to high tea to celebrate my new lineage.
But you didn't like put two and two together for a while.
No, I just kept thinking like, I just was like, this is really hard to figure out like what this means. And then at the same time, I did get a letter at some point in this saying that like someone's looking for their adopted daughter who was female, born in the same hospital as them on the same day. I like eventually it took a lot of nerve to call the adoption agency, and I called them and they were like, yeah, the adopted mother like and the child were reunited and DNA test confirmed it for sure. This is not your parent. So I knew that like that wasn't in it, but I was like, oh, maybe they're wrong. Maybe I was switched to birth and the wrong person was adopted. I was convinced of that for a while. And then it just was like, I just was like, this is, I asked a doctor too, and a doctor said like there is genetic variability between siblings. And she didn't know percentage wise, but she was just like, oh, don't worry about it. And then I had to bump into a PhD in genetics. And he was like, I'm like, but these tests aren't right, right? They're like not accurate. And he's like, no, I got a PhD in genetics. I'm telling you, they're right. They're pretty good. They're darn good.
DNA doesn't lie.
Yeah, it's good. No, they're good. They're good. I got my PhD. Yep. So,
So
so I came home and then it became just like, so once you're like committed to it, your like mind is set on finding it. It can be very easy. I was very lucky. Mine was easy. I see my mom's cousins on there. My dad cousin did it. My dad's cousin did it. I don't see my dad's cousin on there. And I'm connected to my brother. And it says I'm a half sibling. So something's up. Now it's like the paternal side. And then you have to start like, looking around and met like messaging all these people who were like first cousin slash sibling. We know the ancestry game. They make it vague to keep it not so scandalous. And so I called Ancestry and they're like, oh, they're definitely your siblings. And I was like, fucking 15, girl? Like,
you had
what?
15 siblings?
Yes, 15
So
siblings. When all these people that are my siblings, we got into a chat and started exchanging information. And someone's like, I know it's a sperm donor. We basically realized, like, a lot of us that like maybe second, we knew it was a med student. And I was thinking they all say that, but then um one of my siblings asked a second cousin, do you know someone who was in medical school in New York City? And there was like not many in a family, right? Like you're gonna know who those people are. And there was one.
hmm.
And went to go ask him, and then he came back shortly after, and was like, "Yeah, no problem. Tell him to contact me." We were very lucky. So, like within 48 hours, we had
Oh,
info on
man, that's a
everything.
fast time span.
It was incredible. It was because then we also saw, and then it was like, oh, then we saw an obituary connected to a first cousin, and so now we knew his name, we knew his daughter's name, we got on her Facebook, bam, 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 wedding pictures and pictures of him. Um, so grateful
And
for our lack of data privacy laws.
so genetic marrying, I mean, did you see yourself like as soon as you saw the
Oh yeah,
picture?
100%. I saw his picture and I was like, oh my God, I stand like that. I look like that. But it wasn't until I like met him in person that I was like, I locked eyes on him and I was like, oh my God, it was the best moment of my life. There's nothing that will ever compare to it. It was 100% the most amazing thing for me because I never knew what I looked like. I was told that I was all in my head, that why do you want to ask these questions? You know, like this Viking, we told you the Vikings, we told you this, we told you that you look like someone, you look like your great great grandmother, you look like you maybe Vikings invaded Sicily. I was told and gaslighted all my whole life. And then it prevented me from understanding like my full self-conception. And I laid eyes on him and I knew who I was.
So you said this has helped you with your comedy. You want to share a little bit more?
Well, for sure, because like when you go on stage, you have to understand how the audience is perceiving you in order to like speak to them. Because like they're just when you if you say you're one thing, like if I'm saying like oh, I used to go on stage and I was like, yeah, I'm Italian, Italian stuff, my Italian family, and people are like, what the fuck is she talking about? She's what is she? So it was like they're confused, and if you're confused, you can't laugh. And so now I can speak immediately to the perception of who I am. And it's hard to understand. Like now, like I joke a lot about how I look like I look like I teach kindergarten barefoot and stuff like that, which is just like how I come off. I know people think I'm a hipster or whatever, like some sort of person living in Williamsburg. I could put like pass for that. They think I'm basically like the modern version of the country club person. I'm the kid of the country club people. That's like basically people think I am like living in Williamsburg. Um, so I have to call that out because like
Yeah.
when I people need to know like what I talk about, I have very New York vibe. So we need to know where I'm coming from. And that's exciting once you like are able to identify that, then you can really bring people along and they're like, "Oh, you're weird. Like this is so weird. You're such a wacky human." And that's really satisfying.